Karen, how are you before we start?
She's well for the record. Well, I'm answering for her. I'm her press agent.
Of course, she cannot speak, but...
Springer Incorporated, so there you go. I'm going to call to order the West Lafayette Community School Corporation regular meeting Board of School Trustees, Thursday, June 11th at a snappy 5:02 p.m. Revised agenda, and I need a motion for approval of this revised agenda, the regular board meeting, Board of School Trustees meeting.
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Sauter.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Witt. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, hearing none, the motion carries. We'll move on to approval of the minutes of the May 13th, 2015 meeting, regular school board meeting. Need a motion, please. Moved by Dr. Springer.
Second.
Second by Mr. Schott. Discussion. I look at them as closely as I probably should have. Everything looked okay at a very cursory look. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, hearing none, the motion carries. Communication from the audience, and Zach, you've got the floor.
For non-agenda.
Non-agenda, I'm sorry. You'll go to the back end, sorry.
Thank you.
Unfinished business, I have none. We'll move on to new business and literacy first presentation. Okay. Mrs. Bowers.
Good evening. And Kim Lancaster, Director and Lead Teacher for Literacy First. Last year, you were kind enough to allow us to take kind of a big step to do something a bit different with our first grade programming and reading, because we really do believe that first grade is where the rubber meets the road for teaching reading skills. And we just kind of wanted to give you a quick update in terms of how it went this year. This year, who participated? We had 30 first grade students in 4 different groups. There were 29 caregivers and parents. We had 1 set of twins in the program. The level of parent participation varied, and there were 10 teachers involved. And one of the parents said, "My child improved overall from this program. She now reads at least 2 books every night before bed," which I have to say is the sweetest sound ever.
Nice. Some of the benefits that were experienced, these were some comments. "I love the individual attention given to my child in an environment that made him feel comfortable and not ashamed of his skills." One parent commented about the consistency of the program. The children and the parents knew what to expect, and it was very well organized. Another comment, nightly homework provided great structure, and there was a plan for parents. Another comment, awesome communication, and practice makes perfect.
So how did it work? Running records. This is a best practice assessment for a child's reading progress, and this is done on a one-to-one basis on a regular basis. In 2013-14, now this is not exact comparable data because we didn't have Literacy First in 13-14. So next year we'll have a better comparison in terms of how things are going. But an average reading growth for students that would likely have been in the smaller groups for Literacy First was 3.5 book levels gained. And this year the average reading growth was 8.8 book levels gained. And as we head into, as we finished May, we're doing a lot to try to also keep that reading up over the summer, but as we finished May, we had 13 students who were above a grade level heading into 2nd grade who had been a part of the first grade program with the smaller groups. There were 8 students that were barely below grade level, and one that was slightly below grade level.
I just want to add to that for a minute.
Yes.
Regardless of where they finished, they all made significant progress. And I just was very proud of their accomplishments. They worked very, very hard on the program, parents and students as well. What did teachers and administrators have to say? I polled our first grade teachers, and some said, provides reassurance that students will be getting the best help they can to become the best reader they can be. Provides students an opportunity to grow at their own pace. Allows younger teachers to hone their skills and give those most in need the most experienced reading teachers. I can see the reading progress transfer over to other subject areas. This program design allows us to better meet the needs of children rather than forcing them to fit in a standardized box.
And we've taken some steps already for this year. The student group was selected by the Literacy First teachers this year in cooperation with the kindergarten teachers. There's already been a parent meeting of those students held at Cumberland. The one-to-one parent training has begun with Literacy First teachers. The master schedule is put in place to support Literacy First. And the students from this year participating in a summer Literacy First library, ensuring that they continue practice and preparing for second grade. Questions?
Are any of the students who fall into the barely below and slightly below, or any of those handicapped in any way?
Not that we have identified yet.
What are the challenges? I mean, nothing's entirely perfect, so what are the things that you're focusing on next year?
Parent communication is always going to be a challenge. I'd like to get more parents involved consistently. Really connecting with those parents that we've heard little from throughout the year. That's going to be a challenge that we'll continue to face.
Other questions for Steph?
Impressed.
Yeah,
This
we're
is
happy.
fantastic.
We're happy.
I did want to leave copies of the survey. I sent a survey to our first grade parents that participate in the program, just so you can kind of look at what they had to say. I'll just leave copies of those.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
guys.
guys.
Thank you.
Well done.
Appreciate it very much. Very nicely done. All right, we'll move on to item 3, and that's academic achievement, the ISSMA All-District Music Award, and Dr. Killian.
We received word from ISBA that we're one of 13 high schools in the state of Indiana where we received a total department award. That's the choir, orchestra, band departments, and they all received the Music Association All Music Award, which allowed us to have the total department award. And so I wanted to make you aware of that from ISBA, and I'm very proud of our fine arts group and the excellence that we have going on there.
Okay.
Can I add in a comment to
Yeah.
that?
Go ahead.
The other piece of that, because I think this is the culture that you should be aware of. So that particular award requires a variety of different ensembles, and many of the kids who participate in those ensembles aren't actively enrolled in choir classes because they didn't have room in their schedule. So they came and did that on an extracurricular basis to compete, which is kind of impressive,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really impressive, I'd say. Anything else? That's a great achievement. Let's move on to we have no exhibit on the next one. Well, we do kind of. He's here, but he's an exhibit himself. CFO appointment. Tim's looking at it.
Well, as you all know, in a couple of months, our own Mr. Sloat will be riding off into the sunset. Until then, we are fortunate to be able to bring another gentleman on board for your approval as our CFO, and he will work with Ross through the budget season. And then at some point, Ross will officially retire, maybe, unless we can keep him here. And I'd like to first recommend your approval as appointment of our new CFO, and I would call him, I guess, our assistant CFO until Ross officially retires, is Tim Clary.
Moved by Mr. Bittner.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Sauter. Discussion.
Where did this guy come from?
Yeah, we're excited to
Yes,
have you here.
welcome
We
aboard.
certainly have, assuming we all vote the way you expect to here shortly, but I think you'll be a great addition. All in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, hearing none. We'll be excited now to officially have Tim Clary aboard, and you'll have a big job to do, but a good situation to do it in.
So, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you Tim Clary, and Tim, you're welcome to.
Yes, thank you very much for the opportunity to become part of this great organization, and I look forward to working with the board and the staff of the schools, and the students too. Really looking forward to it. Can't wait to get to work on Monday.
Great.
Thank you very much.
And just some information for the audience, Tim is the Deputy Controller right now at the City of Lafayette and was with the State Board of Accounts prior to that, correct?
That's correct.
We're very happy to have him on board, and with the tutelage of Ross, we may have another Ross Sloat in the making.
There you go. I think
Big shoes to fill. I'm sure
I'm sorry, have a
I'll
shot.
have some good help from Ross.
I'm going to show him where Rocky hides the money.
I don't know.
Or you think he thinks it is. There you go.
You just need to start teaching him the word no.
Yeah.
Every time the superintendent comes in, no.
No. Yeah.
Tim, welcome aboard.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
everyone. Excited to have you. We'll move on to junior, senior high school project update, Dr. Killian.
I'm going to have Jovan just give you an update on where we are with regards to the high school parking lot project.
Yeah.
John's here as well.
Basically, we put it out to bid in May and got bids back in May 15th. Only got one bidder to give us a bid. That was MatCon, and it was for $374,000. And our budget was $250,000 to $300,000 with our contingency. So, with it being over budget, we had 3 bidders lined up. One dropped out 2 days. CPM dropped out 2 or 3 days before the bid, and then Milestone, who's a big site contractor here in town doing the street project everybody's aware of, they dropped out the day before the bids were due. So we didn't have enough time to try to extend the bid time and pull in more contractors. So that's the reason we only got one bid. We called them and asked them why, what's the deal? Why do we have such high bids, and why didn't you guys bid it? And they both said, well, we couldn't get it done in time. Our time frame was to start June 1 and end July 31st. They said we're too busy right now to do it. If you would do it in September, October-ish, we could probably do it then. So with that information and with it being over budget, we decided just to rebid mid-July, get bids back in mid-August, and then actually set it up so mid-September start and get it done before snow flies, and definitely before November, like around November 1st. It's about a 6-week project, maybe 8 if you push it. It will bleed into the school year, so we worked with Ron on coming up with a plan for buses and where those would go and how that would work during construction. We actually think it's about a 4 to 6 week construction time, so there might be a window of a month roughly. The buses will have to be rerouted and pickup will have to be rerouted. And that we were pretty confident that we'll get bids closer to our budget, if not under budget. And talked to Alan Jacobson with Schmidt, who did a lot of the plans. Him and I are going to go back, re-estimate, make sure we're still in line. We're going to change a few details to get it under budget if we need to. And also, the other big kicker is July 1st, common construction wage hearings are no longer required after July 1st, so the common construction wage goes away. So hopefully that will also reduce the cost as well. So that's what our plan is right now, is to rebid in July and get new bids back in August and come before the board with a proposal then, hopefully with somebody under budget.
Then it gets to the point where it's too complicated, we can always put a pause on it
Yeah.
and go next year.
I mean, that's my question, is is it important enough to do it during school, school time?
I'll let.
Yeah, maybe things happen for a reason, but we think it's important to get it done as soon as possible. It's really a piece, having lived with it for a year, we should have attached to the remodel project that we did, because it'll match up. It's not really so much about adding space as it is to traffic flow matching up to new entrance. And it's not a complicated project. And we do have a good option for buses where kids can still be on sidewalks all the way to the door. So it's one of those things that really doesn't call for, if it's all right with everybody else and the prices come in, for waiting another year to get done.
Okay.
So it's just a pattern change we'd like to make.
So what would be the route then for the buses if we decided to do it in July?
Well, I think, I think you probably start in September.
Yeah, the construction will start in
I
September.
think that what we've walked around and looked at is on Meridian Street, where the buses would come west on Meridian, and they drop off at the sidewalk as far as they can go. And we have that available because the city hasn't taken it away from us yet. And we really have not had the student parking down there that we did initially when that began, I don't know how many years ago, 6 or 8 years ago. So at any rate, buses would have plenty of room come around the corner on Grant and park all the way up towards the concession stand at the football field. Kids get out. We'd close the driveway for those 3 or 4 weeks for before school and after school. So kids would come up that driveway on the west end of the football field. And then there's a sidewalk, and when they get to the end of the parking lot, they can go straight, which would be my preference, and they can come in the swimming cafeteria doors on the west end, or they can go down the sidewalk and go in the south entrance. But there's sidewalk either way. So we think it's not a huge distance for them to go, and we can just do the same thing in reverse after school. We'll make sure we have the signage up and ropes or whatever we need for a temporary thing to stay on the sidewalk and out of the parking lot. So we have an alternative which allows us to do that, fortunately. It's better. The only other option, really 2 others, the city wouldn't care for. I don't think we want to do this anyway. I didn't even bring it up, was to have buses pull up on Grant Street. They don't like that. I understand it. Then we have the same issue. You could do it on Leslie coming from the west to the east, but we have cars there now. So the least interference between kids and cars is at Meridian Street. I think that's what, we'll have to see if we're going to do this, but I think that's what we'll work through.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's just the information.
Update. Okay.
Just give you an update, and then once things move forward, we'll of course be bringing things back for your consideration. Thanks, Giovanni.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you
very
very
much. Thanks, Ron. Let's move on to handbook updates. And Dr. Killian?
Yes, we have a Happy Hollow update, and Diane had mentioned there might be some wordsmithing that needs to occur in several sections, so I'd recommend that we approve it with the understanding that any grammatical, sentence structure type of things that would need to be done would ensue before it goes to print.
Okay. All right. Motion.
Move to approve.
Moved by Dr. Springer, or moved by Mrs.
Whatever.
Whitestick and Dr. Springer. Don't want to cheat you out of anything, Rachel.
I'm good.
Discussion, please.
Discussion, a long time ago, and
Far, far away.
far away, yeah. One of the things that not only is a teacher leader, but a board member and a board leader, was to make sure that things went out from this office and from each of our offices was correctly and clearly written. And I think maybe that's why I've been so nitpicky on so many things.
Yeah.
But I think that's so important. If, we've got, one of the best school district in the state, and we have to be careful what we're sending out to the public, if indeed the public is going to.
Well, the public doesn't get this. This is a
The
staff.
public will see it, and you know they will.
Well, it's a staff handbook. So.
Well,
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And it doesn't matter who gets it.
Yeah.
If it comes from us, it ought to
Yeah.
read correctly.
Yeah. And
That's
it
all.
will.
That's my point.
Yeah.
Okay.
There are many things that I'll be happy to point out.
Good.
Have that.
Yeah, we.
Sure.
I was impressed by the fact that the teachers got together and wrote it and really provide information that would be so helpful to a new teacher. That's
Yep.
really remarkable.
Only if you know who is doing what and who is responsible for what, and that's the main point of so much of this that needs to be rewritten.
Okay. Other comments? Okay, all in favor of it, and with some of the revisions that will be forthcoming, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, and the motion carries.
Yeah, and nothing will go out until it is crafted and revised and appropriately done, so.
Okay, now we'll move on to junior, senior high school climate audits.
We've done 2 climate audits, one for Cumberland, one for Happy Hollow, and now it's time for the junior, senior high school, which I know Ron is enthralled about.
I'm not taking maternity leave.
So, maybe not.
That's right. No, I know, you're going to have a baby, yeah.
Did you say maternity leave?
Yeah, I got my words right.
You got to watch them all the time.
So we'd like to bring administrative assistants in the fall, do a climate audit for the junior, senior high school.
please. Moved by Dr. Springer, second by Mrs. Sauter.
Or Miss Torres.
I heard something over there. Apparently.
I have a deep delivery.
I may have. Mr. Schott, excuse me, pardon me.
I've been called a lot worse.
Yeah,
Excuse me?
It's a lot worse.
Oh, okay, all right.
not just a little.
I've never been called worse.
Oh, okay.
I got the
Okay,
wordsmith there.
I understand you.
Apparently I need a trip to the audiologist. Okay.
What?
Discussion, please.
Let's do it.
There you go, Ron.
I'm-
Just
I'm
put
on.
in your paperwork July, and we'll take care of it.
We would get it done.
All in favor? Please say aye. Opposed, hearing none, the motion carries. Let's go on to West Lafayette Library Board appointment and Dr. Killian.
I've been in contact with Nick at the West Lafayette Public Library, and it's time for the school board to appoint a representative for the board of the West Lafayette Public Library. Linda Eels, her term officially ends July, but Nick said they could go through August. So what I'd like is the board to consider getting a name for us to nominate for that board and bring that name to our July meeting. So however you want to do that as a board. But we need to find someone to recommend to the West Lafayette Public Library Board for an appointment by this board.
Okay. Any discussion? Doesn't need a motion to do that at this point. We just need to do it.
Right. We just, what I'm asking is in July, we need to bring a name.
Okay. So we're going to help in doing that.
And if you charge me with doing that, I'd be happy to, work on that on your behalf. It is a board appointment, and whatever your wishes are, we will try to book it.
Charge you to look into it for us,
Okay.
unless somebody else can get it. It would make sense at least on the periphery.
Okay.
Or the first step.
All right.
Anybody have an objection to that?
No, I think if anybody has any names, you can give them to Rocky, and he can.
Yep. I'd be happy to do the legwork on it.
Okay. All right. We'll move on to School Board Policy 6423 revision.
This
Dr.
is
Quinn.
the second reading. It's on the credit card, and so recommending your approval for the revision.
Okay. Moved by Mr. Bittner.
Second.
Second by Mr. Marley. Discussion, please. Any questions?
No, mine were answered last time.
Okay. Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, hearing none, and that motion on the second reading carries. We'll move to the PERF resolution. And Dr. Ross, I guess, actually could.
Yeah, on the PERF resolution, we've asked Bob Reiling to come out. He's been working with us on our PERF situation. Back several years ago, we when you went from, I think, Johnson Controls, brought employees back, we kind of grandfathered some people in PERF and then didn't have enroll new people in PERF. So now with Tim on board and he's not in TERF, teacher retirement, so he'd be in public employees retirement. So we need to have a new resolution adopted by the board that would authorize naming or putting someone in this officer school business titled position in PERF. So we need that to give to PERF to allow them to enroll him in it. So I don't know, Bob, you have any other comments on that? Or
Well, the statute regarding PERF is really confusing about how you get in and how you get out. I don't think there's going to be a problem getting in. Getting out of PERF is the problem because they always worry that there's a tail on pensions and unfunded pension liability. But getting in, I don't foresee that as an issue. When you terminate an employee, they're terminated. But if they just withdraw and go into a new system, you've got to get the consent of the PERF board, and that's not what we're doing here. We're doing just the opposite. Mm-hmm. And the fact that Mr. Clary is currently a member of PERF, I don't foresee any issues here.
Okay, need a motion, please.
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Sauter.
Second.
Or Mr. Schott, no, second by Mr. Marley. All discussion, please. Any questions? Okay, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. And the motion carries. All right, that's, and we'll move on now to juvenile truancy agreement and Mr. Sloat.
Okay, we've been involved with this juvenile truancy agreement with the other districts in the county and with the county commissioners, I think, for the past several years. I'd ask Ron, I mean, it has probably more impact to the high school than other buildings. You want to comment on what?
Well,
how it
junior
works?
and senior high school.
Or junior high, too.
It's the truancy mediation is a last stop to help kids stay in school, and it's really, as much as anyone, directed at parents. And the piece about this option is it goes before the juvenile judge, who then compels the parent to come and talk about their child's attendance. So I tried to find some data on how frequently we use it today, but we're kind of in between this Harmony and Skyward. But it's fairly often, and really with younger students, we find as much as the high school kids. So 8th, 7th, 8th, and 9th graders have more of those issues with not getting to school and parents not getting them to school for different reasons. So it's not intended. It's a part of the chain of attendance compliance, but it's at the end of the line because it allows the county to bring the parents into court.
Can you reference effectiveness?
It's effective. I wish I had some data to give you, but parents don't like to hear. They don't want to have to go to through the juvenile procedures to hear about their kids coming to school. And there's once you're recommended for truancy mediation, you have to go through a series of steps. So once the school gets to the point where we send the student's name and the parent's information, it can't be, okay, I'll send my kid to school now. Then it goes to that track, and the school works with us, but really the parents have a big obligation to make sure their kids are in school or provide reasons why, and we really cut through a lot of the excuses that we get, maybe medical, maybe not, very often not. So it tends to be more for younger kids than the older ones, actually.
To answer Diane's question, we have some information from Melissa Holly. And she said cases that successfully completed truancy mediation 2014-15, we are at 100% in West Lafayette.
Well, that's good.
100%.
I remember a few years ago when Dr. Miller was principal at Hampton Hollow, she spoke about this program and how effective it was, and she had utilized it successfully.
Same thing.
Just as an update.
Yeah.
Same thing at Cumberland, because we use it for actually our largest numbers are with kindergarten students.
Younger kids.
A little bit of guys.
So we need a motion then to accept this
Seems
agreement.
like you could just pick them up.
One would think.
By Mr. Bitten, second by Mrs. Witt. Any additional discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, hearing none, that motion carries. April, we'll move on to natural gas agreement and Mr. Sloat.
Yeah, the natural gas, we've been, the reason for this new document, new changes, we're moving to this EDF Trading North America LLC from Constellation. So in the past, you've seen a lot of checks written to Constellation. That's who is our natural gas supplier. Well, Dan Schuster, who I really appreciate, he's our consultant on our gas and does all the hedging. We've had some invoicing issues with Constellation and other supplier type issues. He's recommended that we look at this company, and he did the research on it, so he's recommending that we would start hedging and buy our gas through EDF Trading. So that's the reason for this change. So he emailed me today. I want to know when he gets the document because he's ready. There's some good prices he can get out there. So I said, well, we'll get the agreement signed tonight, assuming you approve it and get it to him tomorrow. So that's the purpose behind this change.
And he's been saving us a lot.
Yes. Okay, need a motion, please. Moved by Dr. Smith. Second by Mr. Schott. Discussion. How long has he been? He's been doing that for us.
Brought him in 2009, 2010 school year. when we were trying to find every nickel and dime.
Yeah, still are.
And still are.
Any other questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, hearing none, the motion carries. Move on to overnight out-of-state field trips, and there are 6 listed, only 1 has happened. Well, that was a very successful one, the high school track team to Indiana.
We told them they couldn't go, but
They ran down there. They were so anxious.
That was been many sporting events, but that I was with the girls on Saturday. That was quite an effort, and I know the boys on Friday as well was really something. Need a motion, please, to pass all these.
Move approval.
Moved by Mrs. Sauter.
Second.
Second by Mr. Marley. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, hearing none, the motion carries. Move on to the personnel report, and Mr. Sloat.
He's reviewed the report, and you can see there's several new or not necessarily new positions, but replacements. So we're in that time of year where we're making a lot of adjustments and changes. So that's why the report is more lengthy than normal. And I think we're pretty well set. I think there's a couple of spots we haven't filled yet, but we'll keep you informed. I think he gave Rocky permission to hire, because we can't wait sometimes for the board meeting when we're getting ready to start school. So, but we're closing in on the final round.
Yay. Motion, please, for the personnel reports. Moved by Mrs. Witt, second by Dr. Springer. And additional questions or discussion?
Any positions you have to fill?
I'm thinking, I know I'll talk to Kim. I think she has a couple. I think there's 2 or 3 yet out there that are Ron, I think, is pretty good shape. You got everybody filled.
until he goes on maternity leave.
I didn't see your request in here, Ron.
A lot of coaching things as well, so it's good.
Yeah. And Aaron Cook.
Aaron Cook will do soccer.
Which is soccer. I think that'll be a fun season.
Yeah, he'll keep you loose. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, hearing none, the motion carries. Move on to accounts payable vouchers and Mr. Sloat.
Yeah, we have.
This may be your last motion, so don't.
Oh.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I'll mess it up. Yeah, I got. Hope I added up right.
Put the whammy on you.
Can I have a pencil and paper?
No, don't do that.
This is an important one, Ross.
Yeah.
Be reminded.
Yeah,
I hope I added this right.
Welcome aboard, Tim.
For 1.2 million.
Yeah, we got
Very
over,
serious group here.
yeah, over $2 million here we're paying. Couple of you maybe seen Brad's comment on box. It was a good question. Back there, when you look under Wabash Valley, you wonder why they paid us $16,000. It says benefit paychecks. What it is, we process all their checks, all their benefits, and then they reimburse us the next month. So that was their wage cost and benefit cost at $16,500. And then you might wonder too why we paid Muncie Schools tuition for students. I kind of wondered that myself when I seen it. And so I usually don't pay those right away because everybody at schools like to send out a bill and try to collect money. So I had Judy does a lot of research for me to see where did this student come from and who counted. And this was kind of an odd one because the student. We did count the student, but they never attended, and they were placed by, it wasn't welfare, but by another agency, for medical and some disability reasons to that specialized school in Muncie. So when that happens, since we actually counted the student and got some state money, they do bill us for the tuition. So that was the reason for that. I think it was about $6,400 to Muncie Schools. The only other one to point out, we paid the bond payment, not out of the bond, to CPM Construction for the maintenance and partial payment on Cumberland addition of $189,000. So we recommend approval then of the claims.
Okay. Need a motion, please.
So moved.
Mr. Marley.
Second.
Second by Mr. Schott. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Ross. Information to the board. I have none at this moment. We'll go around the horn for our board and superintendent reports and start with Mr. Marley.
Negotiations is going very well, but I cannot give you much more detail than that.
Okay, appreciate that. And I would concur, I've been in there with them as well, Rocky and Ross are, and really both sides are making
That's
progress.
the easiest report to get. I give you one.
There's a lot in my mind.
It's moving, it is. Mr. Schott.
Mrs. Witt represented us at the foundation last meeting,
Okay.
so I defer my report to her. I'm sure it will be
I have no report.
Really.
outstanding.
Mrs. Witt, you're ready to go here.
Okay, Public Schools Foundation met. They're looking to consolidate some of their fundraising efforts to be a little bit more efficient. The Brew Bash at Lafayette Brew Co. is scheduled for September the 12th. The spring grant cycle, West Lafayette did not have any teachers who received direct grant funds. However, kindergarten teacher Katie Wilson did participate in a grant with a teacher who I think is her sister or sister-in-law at another corporation. And so funds and materials are coming into our corporation from that grant. And it's used to do fine motor skills with kindergartners. So it's a really neat collaboration between corporations. And the third one, 3 West Lafayette educators received an honor and educator recognition from Public Schools Foundation in May. Those were Mrs. Hollingsworth, Mr. Pettit, and Mr. Schaefer. Foundation met on Tuesday, and Michael Pedley is hoping and planning to come to our July board meeting to give his regular report. They brought on 3 new board members. He wanted me to make sure and let everyone know that one of those has a unique PR experience, and I'm really looking forward to that person filling that spot in the foundation.
Who are these people?
One of them is Sue Lassiter, who will be working with financial stuff. The other is David Sanders and Jeannie Umberger. So they're the 3 newest board members, foundation board members. They are still searching for their director of operations, sorry, I'm reading my own handwriting, which is sometimes not the easiest thing to do. Michael went and spoke on behalf of the foundation at Happy Hollow, and will go to the high school and also to Cumberland next year when that can be managed. But they're seeing some real increase in interest by teachers in how to apply for grants. Financially, and this is the big deal, they're ending this financial year the best that they have. And I have that P&L here if anybody wants to look at it after the meeting, but the net for just about a full year on RISE is about $18,500. And the net on the Hunters event was $4,700 for one day. And I needed to convey their appreciation for all the board members who participated in Rocky. It really helped that event move along. There is already a plan to hold that event twice a year, once in the fall and once in the spring. So, there's my report.
A good one. Thank you.
Good news.
You can make all future reports.
No.
Yeah, the 100 event was really a good event.
We've already, Glass has already met its annual annual report at the last board meeting. Legislative liaison, that is closed down as well. Redevelopment Commission, we meet next week. Okay.
And that road is Lindbergh Road.
Lindbergh Road.
That board will meet this coming Monday.
I have a couple of things.
Go ahead, by all means.
One, we've been reviewing I've been speaking with the administration about the copiers and copying instructional supplies. And a couple of things. One, we have Copiers Plus that's working with the tech team to look at overall corporation copying cost resources. 2, I checked with the administrators, and they all believe currently what we have set up is useful for them with regards to the instructional needs that they have for the teachers copying instructional supplies. There's always a need for more copiers, but the resources, just aren't there to do that. So, the question that I would have going forward is, what else would the board want me to consider in working on those questions that Rachel had brought up at the last meeting. And then 2, I-STEP is delayed through October. We don't think that that's going to be anything of a financial burden for us. One of the things I did want the board to consider is what Fort Wayne School Board did. I think it was very brave of Dr. Robinson and the Fort Wayne Board to create a resolution for pause and accountability. Scott Less and I had a letter to the a guest column about that. And so if it's the board's pleasure to consider something like that, I'd be happy to put some framework together and present that to the board in July.
I'd say that would be, at least from my perspective, makes sense. If there's any concern on that, please let Rocky or myself know. Okay, and I don't know, I am Mr. Marley's right-hand person on negotiations.
You've been there, I've seen you.
And that's right, so I can't say a whole lot more what's going on. We'll move on to communication from the audience and non-agenda items, and Zach, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Just want to pass along some information. Earlier this week on June 8th, the New Albany Floyd County Consolidated School Corporation passed a resolution to post the audio of their school board meetings on their website within 2 days of their meetings. The resolution passed 5-1 with the sole dissenting member, George Gaunt, stating fears that some things could be taken out of context with the audio, or who would be interested in the audio, and
Zach,
the minutes
who
are
is
sufficient. The New Albany Floyd Consolidated School Corporation.
Okay, how big of a corporation is that?
Not sure.
Okay.
I can get you the
I
IDOE
just wondered.
information if you want.
I just wondered if you knew it.
No, not off the top of my head. Just read an article in the.
They're pretty large.
Yeah, it's a
Okay,
large district.
okay.
Yep.
Their paper's the Flip. They're the Courier and Journal.
Oh.
Yeah.
Another Gannett company. And then the board tabled until further discussion with their lawyer another resolution that would allow the posting of supplemental information prior to their school board meeting. I have confidence, based on my communications with that school board in New Albany, Floyd County, they'll pass this resolution at a future meeting. So once again, I'd like to take this opportunity to encourage the West Lafayette School Board to once again think about recording their meetings, as I know they have ceased to do so, posting that audio online, as it only takes a minimum amount to edit due to note redactions, and then also consider posting the supplemental information that is provided to the board to encourage the public to engage, listen, and be informed about their public schools activities. Thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you. We'll move on to future meetings, at which negotiations will be on June the 16th at 3 p.m. Retirement reception 3 to 5 p.m. on the 23rd of June.
It's kind of a pre-retirement reception.
Right.
You know, we thought we'd get it done in June.
It's a maybe.
We thought we'd get it done in
That's
June.
right.
Maybe
so that,
retirement
you know, when
reception.
you finally decide to do this, you know, all the hoopla will be over.
Yeah.
Now, the invitation says that that's been changed to 4:30 to 6:30.
That's been changed back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the new one went out
Can
this
I
afternoon.
vote on the time?
Yeah,
So it's still
So what is the
3
time?
to 5.
3 to 5.
Yeah. We've been working on something and it keeps changing.
I see.
So it's changed back to 3 to 5. Yeah.
June 30th to 12th at noon, the point meeting.
Yeah, that's Karen.
Okay.
Karen, we're working on the facilities presentation.
Okay, gotcha. And then on July the 8th, regular board meeting. I don't really know why I'm reading this, you guys all can, but it makes me feel good, I guess. But Thursday, July 9th is the teacher discussion back at central office. Okay.
And if you are, whoever's attending, if you are going to attend, let April know we're serving lunch.
Well, then I'll come for that. That's good.
And when is this that we're having lunch?
9th.
July 8th.
No, 8th is
Board meeting is the
12:30 p.m.
Can I do something unofficial now?
Should we end the meeting?
Yes, you may.
All right. We want to congratulate Ross Sloat for being Business Manager of the Year for Region 4, or Chief Financial Officer of the Year. We had an opportunity to go up to Fort Wayne and go to the presentation, and it went very well. Alan attended, and some central office staff, and just a very nice function, much better function than the Superintendent of the Year stuff, let me tell you.
There's no Elvis.
No Elvis.
Yeah, no Elvis. And Ross, Rachel baked a wonderful cake on your behalf. And
I gotta share?
yeah, we're going to share with everyone in the audience who would like
He
a piece
doesn't
of
want
cake
to.
at the end. But
You're registered.
We don't have to vote on that. You can say, if you want it all to yourself.
You can take it home, there's a box, it's all good.
Ross,
thanks. That's great.
congratulations.
Yeah.
Well done, my friend. Very well deserved. And it's been an honor having you here these last 5 years.
Yeah, I appreciate everything. It's been an honor to be here, so thanks for everything that's done.
I see what you did.
So,
I wonder if that was on the claims, that cake. I didn't see. Paid for that.
Zach paid for it.
Oh.
All right, I need a motion for adjournment. I think that's what I want to do. Moved by Mr. Marley, second by Mr. Schott. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, hearing none. The motion carries.
And we'll bring plates and napkins.